The demand. The stars were quiet, but the silence was heavy. Every telescope on Earth pointed toward the same place in the sky. Something massive had entered the solar system. Not an asteroid, not a comet, but ships. Ships so large they looked like floating cities. They moved slowly, with purpose, as if they already owned the stars they crossed. People on Earth stopped their lives in schools and offices, in streets. All eyes turned to the skies. News screens showed the images again and again. The words running below the pictures made hearts. Race. Unknown alien fleet detected. Possible hostile intent. Governments called emergency meetings. Leaders of old rival nations spoke on the same screen for the first time in years. Fear pulled humanity together, even before a single word came from the strangers. In secret bases under mountains and oceans, hidden programs came alive. Engines that had been silent for decades started humming, but the world outside did not know. They only saw fear. Then the voice came. It was not a human voice, not even close. It was deep, heavy like stone grinding against stone. It did not speak in one language. It spoke in all languages at once. Every human on Earth heard it in their mind. The message was simple. Surrender, or be destroyed. The voice was repeated 3 times, and then silence returned. The ships hung in the sky above the edge of the solar system, waiting. It was not a negotiation. It was not a request. It was a demand. Panic swept through cities. Markets crashed. People fled to shelters. Families gathered close. Every human heart felt small under the weight of those words. But inside the fear, something else started to grow. Whispers spread. This is not the end. Humanity is not weak. We have prepared. In a hidden command center under a frozen mountain, an old general looked at the screens. His face was lined with age, but his eyes burned with fire. They think we will bow, he said quietly. But they do not know what waits in the dark. Beside him, young officers sat at their stations, their hands shaking but steady on controls. They had trained for this day, though they never knew if it would come. Meanwhile, in homes across Earth, people remembered old wars. They remembered how humanity had always stood back up. No empire, no invader, no tyrant had ever broken the human spirit. And now the challenge came not from Earth, but from the stars. The alien fleet was vast, their weapons unknown. They had crushed other worlds, forced other species to kneel. To them, humanity was just another weak planet ready to be taken, but Earth was different. Earth had scars. Every scar told a story of survival, of battles fought, of pain endured. No other world had been forged. In fire the way Earth had. The United Earth Council gathered in secret, leaders argued, shouted, demanded answers. But above the noise, one voice spoke clear. We cannot surrender if we bow now. Humanity is finished forever. Silence followed those words. Everyone knew it was true. Surrender was not peace. It was slavery. In the alien flagship, commanders watched Earth through cold eyes. They had seen the same fear in countless worlds before. They had seen the same chaos, the same panic, and they had seen the same outcome. Worlds surrendering, kneeling, offering everything just to survive. To them, Earth was already theirs. But they did not know Earth's secret. They did not know of the Terran project hidden among the asteroids. They did not know that deep inside old shipyards something powerful was waking. Back on Earth, the old general gave one last order to his team. Do not respond to the demand. Let them believe we are afraid. Let them wait. His voice was calm, but his eyes told a different story. He was waiting for the right moment. He was waiting for the day humanity would rise. In the quiet hours after the alien message, Earth held its breath. Children asked parents if they would die. Parents lied and said no, even as fear shook their hearts. But in those same hours, deep underground, engines thundered. A hidden heartbeat of Terran power, slow but steady. The beginning of something the aliens had not expected. Above the blue planet, the stars looked cold. The alien fleet waited like wolves circling prey. But wolves had never hunted humans before. The demand was clear, but Earth had not yet answered. The world was afraid, but it was not broken. In the silence, a choice was being made. the choice that would decide the future of all mankind, and far away, in the shadows of the asteroid belt, a single Terran warship opened its eyes. Its dark hull glimmered against the sun. Its weapon systems came alive with fire. The ship whispered a promise to the stars. Humanity will not kneel. The hidden strength, the alien fleet waited, silent and confident. They had crushed many worlds before. To them, Earth was just another weak planet. They believed fear would break humanity without a single shot fired. But in the darkness of space, far from Earth's eyes, something stirred. For decades, a secret project had lived in shadows. It was called the Terran Project. It was born after humanity's last great war. Leaders swore never again would Earth be caught unprepared, while nations argued on the surface in secret they built together. Beneath the ice of Antarctica, massive hangars were carved into the stone. Inside those frozen walls, scientists worked. In silence, they were old men and women who had given up fame. They were young engineers who had vanished from public life. Together they built machines unlike anything Earth had known. One of those machines was codenamed Vigilant. It was not just a warship. It was a fortress in space, built from hidden asteroid mines. Its armor was thicker than any alien design. Its weapons were forged from human desperation and stubborn hope. And though it slept for years, now it woke. Engines that had been cold roared to life. Inside the ship, crews took their stations. They were not ordinary soldiers. They were chosen for loyalty. Each of them knew they might never see Earth again, but none hesitated. Their oath was simple. If Earth falls, we rise. Back on the planet, the world leaders still argued. Some shouted for surrender. Others demanded negotiation. But the general who led the Terran project said nothing. He only watched the sky on the screen. He knew words would not save Earth. Only strength would. The aliens sent another message. It was colder than the first. Time is ending. Surrender now or face destruction. The voice echoed through cities and homes. People trembled, but deep down, anger grew. Humanity had been challenged. Humanity had been insulted. And humanity had never been good at kneeling. In hidden training facilities, pilots suited up. Their ships were small compared to the alien giants, but they carried weapons the galaxy had never seen. Weapons forged from human creativity. Weapons, built not just to fight but to surprise. Among the pilots was a young woman named Elena. She had grown up watching the stars. Her father died in an old war. Her mother raised her with stories of courage. When she stepped into her ship, her hands shook, but her eyes were steady. She whispered, "This is for Earth," and sealed her cockpit. The alien commanders laughed as they watched Earth's hesitation. They saw panic on the streets, weakness in the leaders. They thought Earth was broken already. They did not see the ships rising from hidden hangars. They did not see the Terran fleet moving in silence through asteroid shadows. The general stood before his officers. "The time has come," he said. "Let them believe we are weak, let them laugh, but when we strike with everything." His words were simple, but they lit fire in every heart. The officers saluted, voices strong. For Earth, for humanity, for tomorrow. Outside, in the cold void of space, Vigilant turned its hull toward the alien fleet. Its black surface blended with the shadows, unseen. Its weapons charged, silent, but deadly. It was not alone. Dozens of hidden Terran warships revealed themselves one by one. They were not many, but they were enough. Enough to show the aliens that Earth would not bow. In homes across the planet, people still prayed, cried, feared, but they did not know that above them warriors prepared. They did not know humanity had already chosen its answer, and that answer was carved in steel and fire. No surrender, no chains, no silence. The aliens thought Earth was helpless. They thought fear had won. But in the shadows, humanity's hidden. Strength was rising, slowly, steadily, like a storm about to break. And when it broke, the galaxy would never be the same. The first clash. The alien fleet moved closer. Their ships cut across the darkness like blades of metal. They believed Earth was paralyzed, too afraid to act. They wanted to see humans break before they delivered the final strike. But Earth was not still. In hidden bases, orders moved faster than fear. Signals flashed between underground bunkers and deep space stations. One command repeated again and again, "Prepare for contact." In the shadows of the asteroid belt, the Terran fleet stirred. Engines whispered low thunder. Weapons powered with a glow like lightning trapped in steel. The great warship Vigilant led the line. Its black hull reflected no light, like a predator waiting for the perfect moment. The young pilot, Elena, sat in her cockpit. Her fingers rested on the controls. Her heart beat hard but steady. This was the moment she trained for. She whispered to herself, "Fear is nothing. Courage is everything." The aliens released their first move. A smaller fleet detached from the main armada, 20 ships, each larger than Earth's tallest towers. Their weapons shone with burning energy. They expected no resistance. They expected humans to run or surrender. Instead, Earth answered with fire. From the asteroid shadows, the first Terran strike lit the void. Dozens of missiles streaked across the black. They carried warheads built not only with power, but with human cleverness. They split into hundreds of smaller weapons mid-flight. The alien ships tried to shield, but they had never seen such tactics. Explosions tore across their hulls. For the first time in centuries, the alien empire tasted surprise. In the alien flagship, silence fell. Commanders stared at the burning fragments of their ships. "Impossible," one hissed. "No primitive world could do this," another growled. But the proof was before their eyes. Earth had teeth and they were sharp. Elena's ship weaved between fire and debris. Her squadron struck hard and vanished again. They moved like hunters. Their ships were smaller, faster, sharper than alien giants. Every shot counted, every strike a message. Humanity would not bow. The alien fleet roared back with fury. Beams of burning plasma swept across the void. One Terran fighter was caught. It vanished in fire, leaving only silence. Elena gritted her teeth, rage in her chest. Her voice cut through the comms. "They think we are weak. Let's show them who we are." Back on Earth, people watched the battle through trembling screens. The first images of alien fire meeting human steel filled the world. At first they gasped in fear, but then they saw something else. They saw alien ships burning. They saw Terran pilots fighting back. And for the first time since the demand, hope filled the human heart. The general stood in the command bunker, his voice calm but cold. "This is only the beginning," he said. "Let them come. The more they send, the more they will learn." The alien empire had fought many worlds before, but none had answered like this. Most worlds begged for mercy. Most worlds surrendered at the first threat. But Earth was different. Earth fought back with fire, with fury, with unbroken spirit. As the first clash ended, the battlefield was filled with wreckage. Alien ships burned beside Terran steel. Neither side claimed full victory, but something greater than victory had happened. The galaxy had seen that humans could fight, and the aliens had seen that fear would not win. The alien commanders stared at the broken remains of their fleet. Their pride was wounded deeper than their ships. "We underestimated them," one finally said. The others fell into silence. For the first time, doubt touched their empire. But for humanity, the fire was only starting. The hidden strength was revealed, the first clash fought, and in the hearts of every human a single thought burned bright. If we can fight them once, we can fight them again. Above Earth, in the endless dark, the Terran fleet formed up once more. Engines roared like thunder, weapons glowed like storms. The clash was not the end, it was the spark. The spark of a war that would decide the future of the galaxy, the rise of Terran power. The first clash shook the galaxy. Whispers spread across alien networks. Worlds that had already bowed to the Empire could not believe what they saw. Humanity, a young species from a small blue planet, had struck back. They had faced the wolves of the galaxy and drawn blood. On Earth, the streets were no longer silent with fear. Crowds gathered around screens not to cry, but to cheer. Every image of burning alien ships lit a fire in their hearts. For the first time in history, the whole planet felt like one people. Old borders, old rivalries, old divisions began to fall. In the United Earth Council chamber, the voices of leaders rose. Some still trembled with doubt. But the general stood firm, his voice strong. Fear is over, now we rise, humanity will not bow, we will lead. The council fell silent. For the first time, they saw not just an old soldier, but a leader of destiny. Deep in orbit, more ships revealed themselves. The Terran project had not built only one warship. Hidden in the asteroid belt, in the shadows of distant moons, dozens more vessels stirred. Each one carried weapons made not of imitation but invention. Human minds had studied alien wreckage from past encounters. They had turned weakness into strength. Now those creations roared to life. The great warship. Vigilant led the formation. Its black hull glowed with power. Beside it, the warship Defiant rose from the shadows. Its engines burned brighter than suns. One by one, Terran ships joined the line. Not many compared to the Empire, but enough to show the galaxy that Earth had claws. In training halls across the world, pilots prepared. They were not only soldiers, but ordinary people who had volunteered. Miners, engineers, farmers, even teachers stood ready. Their voices joined in a single vow. We fight for Earth. We fight for tomorrow. We fight together. The alien empire watched with unease. They had believed Earth weak, divided, broken, but now they saw unity stronger than their chains of fear. Their commanders spoke with sharp anger. Destroy them before they inspire others, crush them before hope spreads. But hope had already spread. Across distant colonies and enslaved worlds, whispers grew louder. If Earth can fight, maybe we can too. The Empire did not just face ships. It faced the rise of an idea. The idea that no power was too great. The idea that even the smallest world could rise. Elena sat once more in her fighter. Her squadron circled above, vigilant. She looked out at the growing Terran fleet. Her fear was gone now, replaced by burning pride. This is not just survival, she whispered. This is our rise. On Earth, children played under banners showing Terran ships. Mothers told stories not of fear, but of courage. Fathers stood taller. The whole planet breathed the same breath. A breath of defiance. The general gave his next command. His words carried across. Ships, bases, and homes. The Empire thought we would kneel, but now they will see us rise. From this day, we are not only Earth, we are Terran power. We are one people, one fleet, one destiny. In the alien flagship, the commanders looked at the formation on their screens. For the first time in centuries, they hesitated. For the first time, they faced not prey, but rivals. Their pride refused to admit it. But, deep inside, they knew. A storm was rising, and it carried the name of humanity. The stars glowed cold around them. The void stretched silent. But in that silence, two forces stared at each other. One ancient and proud, one young and unbroken, and the galaxy trembled. For it knew this was not just war. This was the rise of Terran power. The betrayal. The rise of Terran power sent ripples through the galaxy. Worlds whispered of hope. Enslaved species dared to dream of freedom. But with hope came danger. The alien empire had ruled for centuries not only with weapons, but with spies, lies, and betrayal. Inside the United Earth Council, voices grew louder. Not every leader believed humanity could win. Some feared that resistance would only bring extinction. In the shadows of that fear, a message was sent, a secret signal. Carried through hidden channels, it reached alien ears, a promise of cooperation in exchange for survival. The aliens smiled coldly when they received it. They had seen this many times before. Worlds that rose in defiance only to collapse under their own weakness. They believed humanity would destroy itself. And now they waited for betrayal to tear the Terran fleet apart. On Earth, the general sensed unease. Reports came of delays, of missing supplies, of sudden accidents in shipyards. One by one, small failures appeared. Engines would not start. Weapons misfired. Fuel shipments vanished. It was no accident somewhere inside the human ranks. A traitor moved. Elena's squadron was ordered on patrol near the outer moons. At first, the mission seemed quiet, but then her sensors caught a strange signal. It was not Terran. It was alien. Hidden deep within the code was something worse. Coordinates. The exact location of Earth's hidden fleet. She froze, her heart pounding. "Someone has given them our secrets," she whispered, before she could report. The sky lit with fire. Alien warships dropped from hyperspace. They did not arrive blindly. They came straight for the Terran positions. Shots exploded across the void. Dozens of human ships were caught off guard. The betrayal had done its work. The general stood in the command bunker. His jaw tightened as alarms filled the room. "Someone among us has betrayed humanity," he said, his voice sharp with rage. But there was no time to hunt shadows, only time to fight. The Terran fleet scrambled. Pilots rushed to their ships. Engines roared to life. Elena's squadron raced back to the formation, her voice cut. Through the comms, "Do not let them break us. Fight. Fight for Earth." The battle burned fierce. Human ships twisted and struck like knives. But the aliens had the element of surprise. Missiles tore into Terran hulls, fire consumed steel. One after another, human ships fell. The rise of Terran power shook. The galaxy held its breath. Was this the end so soon, in the middle of chaos? Vigilant roared. Its cannons unleashed storms of fire. Alien vessels shattered under its fury. Even wounded, even betrayed, humanity fought with a rage the Empire had never seen. But the damage was done. Hundreds of lives lost. Dozens of ships destroyed. The traitor's shadow loomed over every survivor. No one knew who to trust. Was it a council leader, a commander, an officer, or even a pilot? The question hung heavy in every heart. The alien empire celebrated in silence. They had not crushed Earth, but they had wounded it. They had shown that unity could be broken. They believed time was on their side. They believed fear would return. But they did not understand humanity. They did not understand that betrayal, though painful, could also forge strength. The general stood before his broken fleet. His voice thundered, "We bleed, but we are not broken. We suffer, but we rise. Again. Find the traitor. Prepare for the storm. This war is not over. It has only begun." In the shadows, unseen, the betrayer listened. Their mission was not finished. More traps waited. More secrets to give. And the greatest betrayal was yet to come. The galaxy trembled, for it was no longer just a war of fleets and fire. It was a war of trust. And in war, trust could be the deadliest weapon of all. The final stand. The stars burned with war. Wreckage of Terran ships floated cold among shattered asteroids. The betrayal had left wounds deeper than fire. But even as the fleet licked its scars, the alien empire prepared its greatest blow. From the far edges of the galaxy, fleets gathered. Dozens of armadas joined together, each ship larger than mountains, each weapon built to erase worlds. Never before had the Empire used such force on a single planet. But never before had a single planet dared to resist in the command chamber of Vigilant. The general stood tall. Maps of stars glowed before him, each red mark a new alien fleet. One of his officers whispered in fear, "They are bringing everything. If they reach Earth, we are finished." The general did not blink. "Then we will stop them before they touch Earth. We will make our stand here." Across Earth, humanity prepared for the impossible. Children were evacuated into underground shelters. Families clung to each other with tears and prayers. But alongside fear, there was pride. No one spoke of surrender, not anymore. The demand of the aliens had become a memory. Now only defiance remained. Elena sat with her squadron in silence. The engines of their ships hummed like caged beasts. She looked at her comrades, faces tired but eyes burning bright. "We are not just fighting for survival," she said. "We are fighting for what it means to be human." Her words spread through the comms, steady as steel. Every pilot carried them into the void. The first sight of the alien armada filled the black sky, a wave of fire and steel that blotted out the stars. It was endless, stretching beyond vision. The Terran fleet was small in comparison, a spark facing a storm, but sparks had lit fires before. The battle began with silence. Then the stars themselves screamed. Alien cannons tore across the void. Beams of burning light slashed toward Earth's defenders. The Terran fleet answered. With fury, missiles streaked, railguns roared, plasma burned like suns. The void became a sea of fire. Vigilant charged into the storm. Its cannons split alien giants in half. Its shields blazed with light. Every hit shook its hull, but still it fought. Beside it, Defiant rammed an enemy cruiser. Explosions ripped through both ships. The Terran crew gave their lives to take the enemy with them. Elena weaved through the chaos. Her fighter danced between beams of fire. She struck again and again, her voice steady through the comms. We will not break. We will not kneel. Her squadron followed, each strike carving hope into the black sky. But the Empire was endless. For every alien ship that fell, 10 more appeared. The Terran fleet burned. One by one ships were lost. Pilots cried out. Silence followed. The void filled with ghosts on Earth. People watched in tears, but they did not see defeat. They saw courage. They saw sacrifice. For the first time in history, the whole planet prayed as one, not for safety, but for strength. In the command chamber, alarm screamed. We cannot hold. We are outnumbered, cried an officer. The general's eyes were calm. Then we hold with our lives, he answered. He opened a secret command line. His hand hovered over a final code. A weapon born from desperation. Something humanity swore never to use, he whispered, for Earth. And pressed the command. From deep within Vigilant, a hidden core awakened. A surge of energy greater than suns burst forth. A wave of fire spread across the void. Alien ships burned, shattered. Erased in a storm no shield could stop. The Terran fleet itself trembled under the force. But the enemy broke. For the first time, the Empire's great armada scattered in the silence that followed. Both sides lay in ruins. The Terran fleet was nearly gone. But Earth still stood. The aliens had been stopped, not by surrender, but by sacrifice. The galaxy trembled at the news. The Empire was not invincible. A single world had stood against the storm and survived. But the cost was terrible. The general stared at the burning wreckage, his voice soft. We live, but tomorrow is uncertain. Humanity has paid in blood, and the war is not over. Far away in the shadows of the Empire, the betrayer smiled. The final stand had not ended the war. It had only opened the path to the last and greatest test. The Terran dawn. The void was quiet again. Wreckage of alien and human ships drifted like broken stars. The battlefield stretched endless, silent proof of sacrifice. Earth had survived the storm, but the cost was carved deep in every heart. On the surface of the blue planet, people filled the streets. They cried for the lost. But they also stood taller. For the first time in history, every human felt, not just like a citizen of one nation, but like a child of Earth. One world, one people, forged in fire. In the command chamber of Vigilant, the general stood among flickering lights. His uniform burned, his face lined with scars, but his eyes were unbroken. He looked at the survivors, weary but alive. You stood against the storm, he said. You showed the galaxy who we are. Today, humanity is reborn. Elena limped from her fighter, her suit torn, her hair singed by fire. Her squadron was almost gone. But when she looked at the sky, she did not see defeat. She saw hope. She saw that humanity had stood and refused to kneel. And in that refusal, something greater was born. The alien empire reeled from the battle. For centuries they had ruled without question. Now the galaxy whispered of their weakness. Worlds under their chains began to stir. On distant colonies, on enslaved moons, voices rose. If Earth can fight, then so can we. But shadows still lingered. The betrayer remained hidden, their work not finished. Even as Earth celebrated, whispers of danger remained. The general knew it, his voice low. The war is not over. The Empire will return. The traitor will strike again. But now we are ready. Now the galaxy knows our name. In a great assembly on Earth, leaders stood before their people. The old rivalries were gone. Nations no longer mattered. Only humanity mattered. A new flag was raised, not of one land, but of all lands. Its symbol, simple. A star rising above the Earth, the mark of Terran power. The people roared with one voice, not of fear but of defiance, not of surrender, but of promise. Humanity had faced the edge of extinction and returned stronger. In alien councils far away, rulers whispered in fear. The name of Earth carried weight now. It was no longer the name of prey. It was the name of predators who rose from ashes. The Empire had demanded surrender, but what they had awakened instead was destiny. Elena stood on a balcony above the city. Children ran below waving the new flag. Families held each other tighter. Her voice was soft but sure. This is not the end. This is the dawn of a Terran age. The general watched the sunrise over Earth. Golden light spilled across oceans and mountains. He knew more battles would come. He knew more lives would be lost, but he also knew one truth. Humanity would never kneel. And so the galaxy trembled, for a new power had risen from the fire. Not ancient, not vast but unbroken. A power born not of arrogance but of survival. Not of fear but of hope. It carried the name of Earth. It carried the name of Terran power. The Terran dawn had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.